Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction, getting ready for this Week 13 game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons. That'll be Sunday at 1 o'clock, so nice to get back to a Sunday game. Pittsburgh 4-7 in this game, Atlanta 5-7. Let's talk about what to watch for in this contest. Starting with the Falcons offense, and it's not the most potent group in the world, but they're pretty unique. They're interesting. They remind me in some ways of what Baltimore does, and so I think although the Falcons are an opponent that you only really game plan for, only see every 4 years, and by then there's always new pieces and parts and personnel, I think Pittsburgh can lean on the Ravens' experience, which they obviously get heavily at least twice a year, sometimes three depending on playoffs, to defend the Falcons, because Atlanta is among the most run-heavy offenses in football. I would argue they are the most run-heavy offense in football. On first down, they are running the ball 70% of the time. That is by far the most in football, more than Cleveland, more than Baltimore, more than Tennessee, and that's despite them being 5-7. So it's not just a product of them having leads and sitting on them. So it'll probably be more of a two-headed attack. They've had a couple different backs this year because of injury, but Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier, the rookie who had some noise during the summer and has come on strong at certain points this year. Patterson, more of a versatile chess piece, return man, obviously now holds the NFL record for most kick return touchdowns with 9. And then, of course, they have quarterback Marcus Mariota under center, and really probably more pistol. They're not under center a ton for their offense. There's a lot of shifts and trades and motions. It'll be a motion off between what the Falcons do and Matt Canada in terms of who wants to use more motion in this game. So again, some of those things that Pittsburgh sees in practice, saw in training camp, they can lean on. But how well do you defend zone reads? The Falcons use that quite a bit, and then also their outside zone scheme with Patterson getting to the hip or the butt of the tight end. Defending those stretch runs is going to be, I think, pretty important in this game. But just tackling well, having good run fills, those are going to be the critical things, because this is as run-heavy of an offense as you're going to see. The pass game is not the most potent in the world, really, without Kyle Pitts, and Pitts was not getting heavily involved whenever he was healthy. He's out for the season. It's the rookie Drake London, who has maybe been quieter in recent weeks, but a big play threat, a downfield threat, 1v1 type player. I think the Falcons, in terms of their pass scheme, it's a lot of constraint plays, and so they try to run play action off their run looks, and they'll throw screens and then fake screens and throw deep like that. So they try to use one play to set up another. They move the pocket quite a bit, so rarely outside of third down situations are you going to get more traditional pass sets. There's always kind of a half roll feel and element to it, and so I wonder how that's going to affect and impact Pittsburgh's pass rush overall. The Falcons are a heavy personnel team. Tight ends are going to be in chip and block and those kinds of things. But again, it goes back to that run game. That's the key to stop. Flipping over to the Falcons defense, and it's been an underwhelming unit this year. It does start up front in the middle with Grady Jarrett, who Mike Tomlin compared to Geno Atkins, and they have a similar build style, and they both wore and wear the same number, 97. That's what Geno had in Cincinnati. That's what Jarrett's sporting right now. Their pass rush has not been very good. It's among the worst in football in terms of sacks. It's the lowest in football in terms of pressure. They're getting pressure 11% of the time, a really poor number. They're a 4-3 team, but like most defenses at this point in 2022, they're a bit hybrid, bit multiple. When offenses go heavy, when they bring in their big people, 12 personnel, 2-back sets, the Falcons are going to respond by having these 5-2 fronts and really try to get in every gap at the first level. So if you can get through that first level into the second level, you can make some big plays there, because typically there's 2 linebackers. But the Falcons they stack the box, they put 8 men in the box, and so they really try to stop the run. Not with a ton of success. It's an average run defense if you look at the stats, but I'd watch for Grady Jarrett in the middle. That's going to be key. When it comes to the Falcons' pass defense, it's pretty basic overall. A bit of cover 2. Traditionally, though, in terms of their base, they're a cover 3 defense. It's 3 deep, it's zone. They try to keep things in front, although they have not had great success at that. And really because they're playing single high, the cornerbacks get ISO'd on the outside. They've had some injuries to their top corner, A.J. Terrell, one of the better and more underrated corners in football. So they've allowed 45 completions at 20-plus yards. That's tied for the most allowed in football with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so we'll see who can limit the explosive plays. But they're a cover 3 team overall. They do play some split field coverages when they have Terrell and when they play man, which is not a ton, but when they do against, for example, 3-by-1 formation. So think about Deontay Johnson, the lone backside receiver, trips to the opposite side. They'll often have Terrell man up in what you call MEG coverage, which stands for man everywhere he goes. So they're going to man up, they're going to solo and lock on the backside, and they're going to play some zone variation to the front side of the trip side, and they're going to match routes and carry things like that. So it's not the traditional, Seattle Seahawks country cover 3 and spot drop and things like that. Pittsburgh used to do that a ton to not a lot of success, get carved up by Tom Brady and others. But it's a base zone cover 3 system. And a quick note on special teams. As I mentioned earlier, Cordell Patterson, he's the all-time record holder in kick return touchdowns for a career with 9. Got his 9th earlier this year, so he's doing a lot for their offense and in the return game to try to set a good field position or house calls himself. And so kick coverage certainly been an issue, not just in the Colts game, but also I think since the bye, it's been a problem. Saints, Bengals, and especially though against the Colts. Miles Boykin should play in this one. Generally speaking, a pretty healthy-looking team. Najee Harris appears to play after we thought he might miss this game. Jaylen Warren, I think, will be back. TJ Watt's questionable, but he should play as well. And so Pittsburgh, both teams really going to be pretty healthy in this game. So with all that in mind, all that said, my prediction is, and I'm getting on the right track. I'm now 6-5 on the year, so I am on a hot streak of picking these games, although they've not been terribly difficult to predict and project. But you guys might be surprised by this one. I'm going Atlanta 20-17. Close game. Falcons have played close games basically the entire season. Generally speaking, ditto with Pittsburgh, with the exception of the top teams like Buffalo and Philadelphia. Here's why I'm picking them. And I've really wrestled with this because my brain says take Pittsburgh because their run defense has been better and the Falcons' passing attack is not very good and their defense is pretty poor overall and the Steelers' offense has made strides. All those things that are probably having yourself pick Pittsburgh right now. Here's my thing. Pittsburgh, on a short week, they played on the road Monday night, and now they're going on the road to Atlanta for one of their longest road trips of the year. It's just a tough thing to do foundationally. You're on the road Monday night, you come back, short week, and now you're going on the road again. Kind of a crappy part of the schedule. And so I think about the Saints, who they were actually at home on their Monday night prior to the Steelers game against Baltimore. I believe they lost that game. Then they had to go on the road to Pittsburgh that following Sunday. And they came out really flat, did not play a good game, and Pittsburgh won fairly convincingly. And so I just wonder if that's going to be the trap that Pittsburgh falls into through really less fault of their own and just the difficulty of that schedule on that short week. And so that's why I'm going to go Atlanta having that edge here. Certainly, though, good reasons, probably better reasons to pick Pittsburgh than Atlanta when you look at just matchups and on paper and things like that. But just the logistics of it, I'm going to go Atlanta, unfortunately, 20-17. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know your score prediction. Are you taking the Steelers? And if so, what is the score and the keys to the game? So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll have a lot of coverage for you guys after the game Sunday, 1 o'clock. So be sure to like this video. And also, if you could subscribe to the channel, I certainly would appreciate that. Again, we'll have a lot of analysis and breakdowns and film room in the week that follows. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you soon.